The room was silent, save for the low, persistent hum of the cooling fans and the rhythmic clicking of a single pen. It was 11:47 p.m. On the massive screen at the front of the conference room, a dashboard glowed with a soft, neon confidence. Everything was green. The risk score, low. The pricing, optimized. The supplier recommendation, a bold, unwavering award contract. Around the table, 5 high-level executives sat in the half-light, their faces illuminated by the pale blue glare of their laptops. They weren't looking at each other, they were looking at the data. The deadline for this multi-million-dollar award was midnight. If they clicked approve now, the project stayed on schedule, the bonuses remained intact, and the operational leaders would get the speed they demanded. But in that silence, a question hung in the air, unasked and heavy. Does anyone here actually know why the machine chose this supplier? This is the moment where the future of leadership is decided, not in the lines of code, but in the psychology of the people in that room. You see, people keep telling me that AI is supporting procurement. They point to the dashboards and the efficiency gains, but I say, stop telling me it's supporting us. Show me who has the authority to challenge it, because the greatest danger we face isn't that a machine will suddenly wake up and start making every decision alone like some sci-fi nightmare. The real danger is far quieter, far more insidious. It's the slow, steady erosion of human judgment. It's the reality where humans remain formally responsible on paper, while gradually surrendering the very judgment that responsibility requires. We are entering the era of accountability theater. Think about that scene in the conference room. On paper, the process looks perfect. A person will review the recommendation, a manager will approve the supplier, an executive will sign the contract, a committee will meet to confirm that every step of the governance process was followed. There will be names, timestamps, digital signatures, and a pristine trail of approval records. But none of that, absolutely none of it, proves that meaningful human judgment actually took place. A human signature is not the same thing as human oversight. Not when the person signing can't explain how the model reached its conclusion. Not when challenging that conclusion requires 10 times more evidence and effort than simply accepting it. In that midnight boardroom, the path of least resistance isn't just a choice, it's a gravity well. We have to talk about why it's so hard to say no to the machine. It's a phenomenon called automation bias. It's that deep-seated human tendency to trust an algorithmic output because it feels objective. It arrives with numbers, with decimal points, with sophisticated heat maps. It looks faster, more consistent, and importantly, less emotional than we are. When the dashboard is green, the recommendation doesn't feel like one input among many. It starts to feel like the objective truth. The psychological shift is subtle but devastating. Instead of the team asking what evidence produced this conclusion, they start asking, why would we disagree with the system? When that shift happens, the AI hasn't just assisted the decision, it has colonized it. It has become psychologically unquestionable. But let's pull back the curtain on that objective truth. Every model, no matter how advanced, sees the world through the narrow straw of its data. It has limits. It has blind spots that are invisible until they become catastrophes. A supplier might receive a perfect score because the AI can see the price, the delivery history, and the recorded compliance documents. It looks great on a spreadsheet. But can that AI see the look in an employee's eyes who is afraid to report a labor violation? Can it hear the whispers of a community carrying an environmental cost that never made it into a database? Can it sense that the organization is becoming so dependent on one technology provider that its own sovereignty is at risk? The AI can tell you what is technically permitted, but it can never tell you what is morally defensible. These aren't just minor technical limitations, they are the fundamental boundaries of algorithmic authority. And when we ignore those boundaries, we stop asking the questions that actually matter. We stop asking, who could be harmed if this model is wrong? We stop asking, which assumptions are we treating as facts? And most importantly, we stop asking, can this decision be reversed? If the answer to that last one is no, and we haven't applied a rigorous human challenge, then we aren't leading. We are just administrators of an algorithmic conclusion. We are becoming dependent on the machine, not through a dramatic coup, but through 1,000 small moments where questioning the system felt just a little too difficult, a little too risky for our careers. Consider the imbalance of power in the modern workplace. To accept an AI recommendation, you might only need to click one button. It's easy, it's fast, it's what your boss expects. But to reject it, to say, wait, I think the machine is wrong, that requires a written explanation. It requires gathering your own evidence. It requires getting senior level sign-offs and sticking your neck out. The system is technically optional, but the organizational design makes compliance the only safe choice. This is how decision support becomes decision dependence. Over time, people stop investigating. They stop interpreting. They stop looking for what the system can't see. And eventually they stop seeing themselves as decision makers at all. They become the rubber stamps in a digital bureaucracy. To fight this, we need to embrace a concept that sounds counterintuitive in our world of speed and efficiency. We need designed friction. We usually talk about friction as a failure, a delayed approval, a slow process, a bottleneck. But in high-stakes, consequential decisions, friction is our only protection. A meaningful pause creates the space for doubt. A second, independent review can expose the context that the AI missed. A documented challenge isn't a sign of resistance to innovation. It's a sign of institutional health. It proves that the organization still understands the why behind its actions. The question isn't whether friction exists, but whether the right decisions contain enough of it to remain governable. For routine, low-impact things, buying office supplies or managing minor logistics, sure, let the automation run. But when a decision is irreversible, when it affects thousands of lives in a supply chain, or when it defines the ethical character of the company, there must be a named human owner, not a committee where responsibility is diluted until it disappears. A person who has the time to conduct real scrutiny, a person who is allowed to ask, what did the system miss? A person who has the actual authority to hit the pause button or to reject the recommendation entirely without fear of professional suicide. If your governance system depends on individual bravery, you don't have a system, you have a hope. The new question for procurement leaders isn't how much can we automate? That's a small, narrow-minded question. The real question, the one that changes everything, is where would the absence of meaningful human challenge create unacceptable institutional risk? This question forces us to look at scale. It forces us to look at consequences. It brings the human element back into the design of our systems. Because while AI can accelerate our processes and find patterns we might miss, it can never, ever assume responsibility. It cannot stand before a group of displaced workers and explain why they were cut. It cannot repair the trust lost through an opaque, black box decision. It cannot possess moral courage. Every decision we make with the support of AI still positions our organization. It reveals what we truly value. Does our leadership reward speed over scrutiny? Does it allow efficiency to override responsibility? Has compliance replaced judgment in our culture? The true standard of leadership in this new age won't be measured by how fast the machine can decide. It will be measured by whether the humans in the organization still have the competence and the authority to question it. Because at the end of the day, innovation without the power to question it isn't intelligence. It is surrender. It is the white flag of a leadership that has given up on thinking. So, I'll go back to where we started. Back to that midnight boardroom, the green glow of the dashboard and the ticking clock. The real leader in that room isn't the one who clicks approve first. The real leader is the one who puts their pen down, looks at the screen and says, I see what the system says. Now tell me why it's right and tell me what happens if it's wrong. That is the standard. Show me who can challenge it. Show me who can stop it. Show me who can reverse it. Because if you can't show me that person, then you aren't using AI. You are being used by it. And that, Ayşe Müge, is the story we need to be telling ourselves as we build the future of procurement. We often think of progress as a straight line toward more automation, more speed, more frictionless experiences. But perhaps The most progressive thing we can do now is to reintroduce the human hitch back into the gear works, to value the person who says wait just as much as the person who says go. We need to build architectures of challenge, not just architectures of efficiency. We need to remember that at the heart of every contract, every supplier relationship, and every purchase order, there is a human impact. And if we lose the ability to see and feel that impact because we're too busy staring at a green dashboard, then we've lost the very thing that makes us leaders in the first place. As we close this chapter, I want you to think about your own organization. Look at your workflows. Look at your approval processes. Are they designed for oversight or are they designed for speed? Are you empowering your people to be thinkers or are you training them to be administrators of algorithmic conclusions? The transition from decision intelligence to institutional dependence happens one easy click at a time. The path back to true leadership starts with a single difficult question. It starts with the courage to demand evidence over icons and context over scores. It starts with the realization that the most powerful tool in the room isn't the AI, it's the human mind that refuses to stop asking why. Ultimately, the future of responsible procurement won't depend on keeping a human somewhere in the loop. It will depend on keeping meaningful human judgment at the very center of the decision. That requires more than just a signature on a digital form. It requires authority, it requires accountability, and it requires a culture where the power to dissent is seen as the highest form of intelligence. Don't let the green light blind you. The most important things are often the ones the data can't see. Keep your eyes open, keep your voice ready, and never ever surrender your right to wonder if the machine is wrong. That is the new standard. That is where true leadership begins.